Class is in session, hitting the books, college basketball show, Tuesday, March 11th. Ian Cameron, Connor Mack with you, ready to break down the Tuesday conference tournament action in college basketball. I love this week, conference tournament week, day and night. We've got games, and I love it. It's starting today. It's going to get even more games day and night tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. This is always a great week, and hopefully a time to make some money. And we've certainly got a lot of opportunities ahead of us here in the next few days, including tonight. See if we can find some winners. Let's get to it. We'll start with the Big 12. And we've got first-round action between Arizona State and Kansas State. We got K-State 6-point favorites. The total here in that 145, 146 range. It is difficult to make a strong, convincing case right now for Arizona State. I mean, they've just been absolutely dreadful down the stretch. They've been you look at their road record, and you have to treat these kind of like you want to know how teams do on the road and in neutral court games. Well, Arizona State has been blown out more often than not away from Tempe, and they haven't even been that good at home, quite honestly. It's probably K-State or nothing for me. You know, you always say laying 6 on a neutral in a conference tournament's never my most favorite way to go, but I can't get there with Arizona State. They did not look good at all down the stretch. Anything there, CMAC, Arizona State, Kansas State?
Yeah, I mean, they've just been dealing with some guys in and out of the lineup. The freshman kid, too. I mean, he's out. He's not going to be playing, right?
Yep.
What's his name? Quentin?
Looks like he's going to miss again. Yep.
Yeah, he's been out. So, which isn't great. And, you know, they've kind of given up a ton of points, but like this is even a team like Arizona, this is new life for them. You know what I mean? With a game like this, so I think they come to play. But I can't back them here. Kansas State, I was on them. I wanted them. You know, Iowa State was dealing with had a few guys out. I thought at home catching 6. They lost 70-57. And this has been their problem. Which we had the under in the game 4. I don't know how they really score. And that's the one thing with Arizona State. You know, they've given up a ton of points lately. I don't know if we get a ton of points in this game. So I think if you want to look at the under, I kind of think K-State, they're just not the best team that, you know, to be laying maybe this number with. And I wanted to double check their free throws. They're not very good, right?
No.
Oh, they're not too bad, right? What do you have? 72? Yep. My thing's
that's solid. That's solid. Slightly above average.
Yeah. My internet's Cox again. Son of a bitch. But hopefully it's works.
You gotta do something to overthrow Cox Cable there in Las
Vegas. They can't. They own the monopoly around here. Like if you have to have the internet, and there's multiple companies through the years, like, and then you could get Dish or whatever for your TV, but they still own the internet, kind of like here in town. There's been a few others, they don't work. I've even tried it years ago.
It is what it is. Yep. It's one company owns a certain service, and you have no other options.
They got it locked,
and they know it, so they don't rush to help you. Anyway, UCF and Utah, the other Big 12 first round game. We've got Utah 2.5-point favorites, 150, 8.5. Actually, down 157 is where it is right now. I think this is an over. Now I know not all of these games. There's been some unders so far today, more often than not. I'm sitting on this Cal over. We'll see how it goes in the ACC. But I think this game is high scoring. How do you trust any defense right now from both of these teams? They haven't been very good at that end of the court. Utah's given up, 83, 76, 73, 71, 85 in their last 5 games, 3 straight overs. And keep in mind, they're playing for the interim coach too. Craig Smith got fired, interim coach at the helm now for Utah. But they played hard, I will say, down the stretch. Like, even though they lost the 2 of their last 3 games, they were competitive, in both games. But now they're being asked to win, as a small favorite. I'm not there with Utah. Do I trust UCF? Well, I'll say this about UCF. They kind of had ups and downs down the stretch as well. I think this is one of those games, coin flips, lean to UCF simply because they're the dog. But I definitely like the total over more than either side. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a ton of points. This maybe it does get there easy. Shit, who knows? Utah, a few of their games down the stretch went over as well. More of a better under team at home. UCF has a few guys out. a few of their role players. So to rely a little bit more on their starters. And we know they get up and down. This was just a total on a neutral at this line flip for me. I mean, these teams are 16 and 15. They're basically against the number. They're pretty even. Like nothing stands out when you go through everything in this game. So I'm off.
All right, we continue along here on this Tuesday slate. Next up, we've got let's go to the ACC first round. Syracuse, Florida State's the one game left tonight. Florida State slight favorites here, 149.5 the total. This is another one. It's two teams that don't exactly always bring it on defense. I think if I looked at the total, it would have to be the over. Florida State's interesting because obviously Leonard Hamilton's moving on, stepping down, retiring at the end of the season for Florida State. They've obviously had a very tumultuous year. It hasn't been a great season. It hasn't been a very good season for either of these teams, and certainly that's the case for Syracuse. But look what we've seen since Leonard Hamilton, the announcement, which was after the Duke game. They almost beat Virginia. They covered. And they beat SMU at home 76-69. Is this a sign that Florida State's showing a pulse here down the stretch? I don't know if I'm ready to trust them as a favorite, CMAC, but they've shown me a little life here in these last two games that if I were to bet the side, I'd have to lean a little bit to the Seminoles here. Syracuse away from anywhere in New York, I'm not ready to trust them. CMAC, what do you think?
Yeah, they haven't been very good. I don't trust both these teams. You know, the only matchup of Florida State 90-74. You know, I think when I see these two, you kind of lean points in the over as well. At least in the 140s too. It's 149.5, but I kind of lean that way. The Syracuse, I thought they played a little bit better down the stretch. You know, Lampkin has to be huge. Davis, some of the other guys. You know, they beat Virginia by 14 at SMU. They lost by 2. Virginia Tech, man, their problems down the stretch were crazy, but they lost by 6. They beat NC State at home. I kind of like them. Like I said, they have to be big, Lampkin and others, but I'd take the 3.5 of Syracuse before laying it.
All right, next up, we got the Metro Atlantic MAAC, the MAC, as I like to say. First round, 2 games here. We'll do them both at the same time here. Siena Rider, Fairfield Sacred Heart. You know, and I look at Sacred Heart here I think they're better than Fairfield. Fairfield's been absolute shit for the most part away from their home court. And that's a big problem I have with trying to back them. I think Sacred Heart is the better team. And I think Siena's better than Rider. And I just get a sense that, you know, Siena's shown me a little life down the stretch. Rider's another team. You get them outside of that New Jersey gymnasium of theirs, and they're not quite the same group. And they've got a coach in Jerry McNamara that certainly as a player had success in tournament settings. Now he's the head coach of Siena. I think they get past Rider. I think Sacred Heart beats Fairfield. And what I decided to do is I decided to just put them in a money line parlay at even money, Sacred Heart and Siena, rather than laying the points with both of them individually. So that's the way I went about it. Anything for you, CMAC, in the 2 first-round games in the Metro?
Yeah, the Fairfield game, I like this over. It's just moved too much in that game with Sacred Heart. I mean, this is 4 points, basically, from 143. You know, I saw it was slightly moving. Man, I kind of want to jump on this, and it just moved a little too much before I could move on it. Sacred Heart beat him twice already by double digits, but I don't buy it. They are the better in the scoring team. Let's just get that. But I'll trust them defensively. I would take Fairfield or nothing in that game. And the other one, no way with Siena on a neutral court here. I think that you take Rider. It's just a little bit how we talk about this conference. You want points with them, with teams during the regular season. I don't see much that changes, you know, on a neutral floor or in the tournament. So Rider, and they got to keep this game low scoring. That's just the way they have to do it. They're just not a team that can get up and down. But I like Rider.
Sounds like CMAC likes Rider, so that means let's get Siena by 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I'm happy, he's happy, because I got Siena money line parlay with Sacred Heart in those games. I like the over.
The game's gonna be close. Rider's had good success against Siena too. I mean, when you look at a lot of these games, of course there's the blowouts because these teams are bad, and you're just gonna get that with these awful in these games. But as we see, a lot of these games always come down to a few possessions or like 5 points or less. Man, when we talk about these Manhattan, the Ryder, all these teams, all in that conference.
Yeah, they're right. And be careful of the sight lines. You're right, with the Metro Atlantic venue.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these play. You're right. There's
few
some
of these places.
sight
Yep.
lines. No question. All right, let's go to Conference USA. We got 2 first-round games. Sam Houston and UTEP, Florida International and Western Kentucky. With Sam Houston, UTEP, we've got obviously you know what? UTEP opened pick'em. Now it's up to 2.5, 3 here in this game. And then the other one, Western Kentucky, 4.5-point favorites, 143 the total against Florida International. I think Sam Houston State is a good side, plus points against UTEP. I like the way the Bearcats played down the stretch. I think they're a better team than UTEP. I know it was just this past week, Sam Houston beat UTEP, and some people like the revenge angle. It's tough to beat the same team twice in less than a week. Yeah, I get it, but I think Sam Houston was really playing good ball down the stretch, and I like them plus points against UTEP there. The other game, I like the over a little bit, and I could only look at Western Kentucky. Now, they're a little bit erratic. They're a little bit flighty, but man alive, tough to put your money on Florida International. That's not a team that exactly played well down the stretch. C-Mac, what do you think in CUSA?
Yeah, can UTEP here flip the script, turn the light on after losing their last 7 games, I think.
Terrible finish, yep.
Just an awful finish, and it was the defense. I thought the line, though, was right on mark here. I mean over, though, because they were just giving up a ton of points, during that losing streak towards the end. Sam Houston playing a little bit better down the stretch. Not a good team on the road all year. They do shoot the 3 well. If they hit those, and get to the free throw line, they're definitely. I looked at them a bunch already. And the other one, I can't take FIU. I would do on the other side. I guess I lean here to Western Kentucky. I don't want to lay even 5 with them. It's kind of been the team over the years. Laying points just is a no-go for me. I think you lay it there, nothing.
Can the Delaware Blue Hens complete the 5 games in 5 days and be Colonial or Coastal Athletic Association champions? It's them and NC Wilmington in the CAA championship game and a spot in the NCAA tournament on the line here. Wilmington, 8.5-point favorites. The total is up in the mid-140s here in this game. At some point, maybe they run out of steam, Delaware, but it's difficult for me to lay this many points against them with if they just took out Towson, a great Towson Tigers team and led them pretty much start to finish. And now you got to lay 8.5 the way Delaware is suddenly, and you get these teams, they stunk in the regular season. And then all of a sudden they catch a heater in the conference tournament and they go on this kind of run. I am worried about the legs. I'm worried about the 5-5. That they maybe hit the wall here. But how can you fade them now with the way they've played getting this many points? What I would do, though, is if you're going to take Delaware, and clearly, as you can tell, I'm leaning that way, split it up. Go a little on the first half, plus 5, and a little bit on the full game, plus 8.5, because they could run out of gas in the second half. I could see that happening. But I don't know, C-Mac, I'll throw it to you. I think it's just difficult to fade Delaware laying this many points. I like Wilmington a lot. Takeo Siddle's a great coach. They're going to be looking to get over the hump finally and win this, and I think they've played very well in this tournament. But it's hard to deny Delaware, especially when they're getting this many points. What do you think here?
Yeah, I get it. I looked a bunch, too, to maybe the Delaware first half here, plus 5. If they keep shooting the ball well, they're in this here. If they don't, they could be fucked. I mean, in the 2 games, they lost by 10. They lost by 30. They're just playing a lot better basketball. They're still not great defensively. Wilmington, better defensively. They can get probably easier looks down low. Newbie's good. Moore. This is a really good basketball team. So I think it kind of goes out of that with Delaware. The shots keep dropping. This is a team that shot the 3 well, and they can get to the free throw line. I think if that continues, they're in. If they go ice cold, it could be fucked here. But how do you not the Blue Hens here?
It's difficult. You're right. How do you not? Maybe look in their direction. All right, Youngstown State and Robert Morris, another championship game, this time in the Horizon League with a spot in the NCAA tournament on the line. We got Robert Morris, 3.5, 4-point favorites in some spots, 137.5 the total in this game. So I cashed one of my top plays last night was Oakland, and I thought they had a great chance to beat them last night, but they covered for me.
Nice.
Plus 3.5, plus 4, and they lost by 3 in overtime. I know G. Martinez says if you can't beat them, join them. RMU -3. I'm kind of leaning Youngstown here. I like this Penguins team. I like the defense they played. And look at the series history against Robert Morris. They beat Robert Morris by 14 at Robert Morris, and then Robert Morris got him back at Youngstown, but they only won by 2. So, Robert Morris has had their hands full with Youngstown State in the 2 meetings this year. What I like about Youngstown State is they're playing good defense. They've got some guys with size. That Utendahl, player for Youngstown State, 13 points last night, played well, got kind of an anchor down low. I think this is going to be – I think Robert Morris could win, but I feel like this could be one possession all over again. I'm getting 4. +4 on a neutral court and what could be very well a close game again. That's a lot. That's more of a mountain to overcome and a big time pressure. All the pressure's on Robert Morris. They're the number 1 seed. They're the team that hasn't lost in a very long time. And they almost lost. They could have lost. They maybe should have lost to Oakland because Oakland led that game more than Robert Morris did. So
yeah.
I would not be shocked to see a 1-score game. And at +4, I'm on the Penguins here, Youngstown. C-Mac, what do you think?
They just played once, though, right, this year?
Oh, twice.
I thought it was only once for Robert Morris.
Let me maybe thinking it's last year.
January.
Double check on that. Let me just because it might have been last year.
Yeah, I only see once by 2-point win.
Oh, it was 70. December of 2000. Okay, no, it was this year, but December. Yeah, December.
Oh, it was. Okay.
This season.
I don't have that up. Yeah, earlier in December though. Okay. Oh yeah, right here, December 4th. Youngstown won. Okay. I think Youngstown could stay in this game with their defense. Their offense kind of flipped and played better towards the end of the year, but man, I still don't like this team at all offensively. And they've gone over, in those games. What do we get in this? Because I could see this way tighter and go under, but for Robert Morris, this total's crazy low.
Yeah.
Man, like, what do we get? A championship game, I always lean under, but is this 3 points too much? This is one I'm going to look live because just the way Robert Morris plays, a ton of their games.
Robert Morris is 3-point reliant, and Youngstown's been decent against the 3, really good, in fact. So that's another reason why I think this was a tough matchup for Youngstown during the season. Yeah,
that's true. We'll get to one coming up here later. That's why I like Youngstown does get to the line a little bit. This one's tough for me. I think Robert Morris is the better team. I'm not going to lay 3.5. I lean them yesterday.
If you're going to,
if you're going to start getting 3 or below, or if you really like it, just to win, like this, just to win the game, take a money line. But this one should be good.
Yeah, it is, no doubt. This Robert Morris run is something. But like I said, they didn't cover last night. They win by 1, 2, or 3. They're not covering here either. All right, next up, we've got, as we continue along here, Big Sky semifinals, Montana State and Northern Colorado. And as well, we got Idaho and Montana. I didn't overthink this. With all due respect to Idaho, with all due respect to Montana State, to me, the 2 best teams in this conference, and it's been that way most of the year, Northern Colorado and Montana. To me, they're meeting in the final. I kept it simple. I don't think there's an upset brewing here in either of these games. So I'm going with Northern Colorado, Montana moneyline parlay, which is close to even money. So I think definitely that's worth a look here. Just parlay the 2 favorites. I don't see either one up getting beaten, Northern Colorado or Montana. C-Mac, what do you think tonight? Big Sky semifinals.
Yeah, I think Montana wins that other one. We saw last night Idaho shoot the ball well. We mentioned it, and that's what they got hot, especially first half, and then kind of cruised, won by 10 in the second. I don't know if that happens here tonight. I like the other one game here. I kind of lean over in this spot, 145.
I like
a
that.
little bit.
Northern Colorado
Yeah,
over. Yeah, yep.
I do too. Well, I think Montana State has a little bit here too. They shoot the three well. They're they're decent too. As good as Northern Colorado is, from inside in the two, Montana State is solid. They got a great 3-point defense, and Northern Colorado shoots the three, well, and they shoot good amount, right around almost 38%. But Montana State has great numbers against their defense against the threes, top 10. So I think this is tight. I believe Northern Colorado won by 7 at home, and then beat them by 1 on the road. So I think this game's tight. This is one I just wanted to it's not doesn't tip here for a while, but I'm looking at Montana State and the over here.
Yeah, I could see this being within the margins for Montana State to cover. I just don't see them winning. I've been so impressed with this Bears team. Like this Northern Colorado team,
they've been very good.
Back them on the road, and they've destroyed some teams on. Like they just feel like it's their destiny to at least be in the final. Now, beating Montana is going to be tough, assuming that's the final. But you could say the same thing about for Montana. It would be tough to beat Northern Colorado, if that's the final. I just think we're destined for that as the Big Sky Championship. All right, WCC Championship, Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Gonzaga, how about the fact that they're favored here, even though they're 0-2 this year against St. Mary's? Total in the mid-130s. I think they're actually favored for a reason. I kind of feel like Gonzaga is the play here. I did small bet. Like this is not best bet material, but I took Gonzaga. I don't think they're going to lose 3 in a row to St. Mary's. They're playing very well. Last night, not their best, but prior to last night down the stretch, they were playing better late in the regular season of the WCC than St. Mary's. Obviously, they've had their struggles with St. Mary's. I think there's a decent chance Gonzaga rights the ship here. And I'm going to play this over. I mean, these WCC overs, it's ridiculous. They continue to be very good. Last night, another one with Gonzaga and San Francisco. I think Pepperdine and St. Mary's barely stayed under. But again, Pepperdine got completely shut down in the second half and ran out of gas. This is a little bit different. There could be some fouling late if the game is close. I think it could just get up and over the total. Even though I know St. Mary's plays good defense and doesn't play fast, I think it can get up and over the 138 here with the total. C-Mac, what do you think? WCC Championship down the road from you, Orleans Arena, Las Vegas.
I know. I thought about maybe going to this game here the last couple hours. I don't have a bet here. I think Gonzaga could win this one after losing the first two if they play their top game. But still, I don't. The better defensive team here is St. Mary's. So that's just them as a favorite as Gonzaga. This would be different if they were catching 3.5. They're not. So I cannot take. It's St. Mary's again or nothing. I had them both and the under in both the first two matchups. And the first one was 150. It's dropped to 147, still stayed under. The second one was 142. It just stayed under by a point. Now we get 138. I can't take the under, and because of that gym and just how many points
and everything's fallen. Yeah, exactly. All the shots are falling.
For years now, and just to see it again this year, or just more scoring, more overs there. So I can't mess with the total to be on both. But I lean St. Mary's here. I'd love to maybe get even a better number with them live. Because I just think it's difficult. It's good. Gonzaga's played well lately. It's just the better defense here is St. Mary's.
All right, we go to the America East, where the semifinals are taking place tonight. Maine, Vermont, Albany, Bryant, the 4 teams left standing. Maine and Vermont. Vermont's a 4.5-point favorite. The total 123, and then Albany, Bryant. Bryant 11-point favorites, 153 the total. I think one favorite, one dog for me in these two games. The favorite is Vermont for me. I think the price is cheap. Vermont got a big-time scare, huge scare from, I think it was New Hampshire. They almost lost at home to New Hampshire. That would have been shocking considering Vermont almost always gets to the championship game, and 9 times out of 10 they win it this conference and get to the NCAA tournament. For them to have been knocked out in the quarterfinals would have been a shocker, but they came back. They won that game. They played a good second half. They took over and won that game late. And I think that might be a wake-up call. And I think they play a better game here tonight against Maine. So I think Vermont minus the 4.5. I do like that. And then I like the dog in the other game. I like Albany the Great Danes here. They're getting 11. I'm even seeing 11.5. I know Bryant is the number 1 seed. They've played great. Obviously, 21-11. They're 10-3 at home, but they didn't cover in their first tournament home game against UMBC. They were 15-point favorites. They only won by 11. Albany's going to look to slow it down. Albany's been a good point spread team down the stretch, especially as a dog. They've been particularly good. In fact, as a dog earlier this season at Bryant, they were 8-point dogs, or no, 11-point dogs. Same number. They won outright, 68-63 over Bryant back on February the 6th. Bryant won at Albany in January, but that was a 10-point win. Again, 10-point win's not going to cover here. I think this is a closer game than this point spread indicates. So give me Albany here, plus the 11.5. I think it's a tighter game than that. C-Mac, what do you think in the 2 games in the America East semifinal action?
I'll be short. It's just at 5 now. I think Vermont wins that game. I'm not going to get involved. Man, we got a low total. Usually I want to go to the dog in that situation. And Maine can hang around. I just don't want any part of that. I have to do it. Yeah, Albany here. I'll go ahead and just give it. It's down to 10.5 now. I mean, it did get to 11.5. That's where I grabbed it. I just, in the end, Bryant's a better team. But when a team doesn't play defense like that, they've been better a little bit this year than in years past.
Yes,
in some spots. Yeah, and not it's just kind of aloof where they could go and games would go over. But I think this number is just way too big here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we got. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a 1-possession game with a minute left. I really think Bryant could be in for a scare tonight. I'm not saying lose, but I think Albany's going to really push them here tonight in that one. All right, Southland. Southland semifinals. We've got Northwestern State, McNeese State, Nicholls State, Lamar. Northwestern State was one of my top plays against Christie yesterday, or Corpus Christi. They led wire to wire, one out.
Yeah, I wish I had him.
It was a good bet. This is a state rivalry. McNeese is a wagon, okay? This is a hell of a team.
I know.
If they win this conference tournament, which they should, they're going to be a handful in the NCAA tournament. Will Wade, they've got a bunch of transfers, very talented group. They got size, they've got athleticism, they play defense, they rebound, they make shots. They're really a complete group. But holy shit, man, 16.5 points here in an in-state game. Northwestern State got a game under their belt. McNeese State just in the surroundings for the first time. With all due respect to McNeese, they're going to win this conference tournament. They're going to probably win this game. But 16.5 fucking points with a pretty solid Northwestern State team that was pretty good down the stretch ATS. I'm taking Northwestern State. They rewarded me last night. This is going to be a much tougher game. I get it. But I think it's just too many points. Give me the 16.5 with Northwestern State. And I like Nicholls State against Lamar. I think they beat Lamar. I like them. I know they had to go to overtime with Incarnate Word last night, but I like Nicholls. Their form is trending up. They were expected to be a force in this conference. They were kind of up and down. I think they get the job done against Lamar. Anything for you, C-Mac, with the Southland semifinals?
Yeah, I have a strong lean here. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I want Northwestern State. Like, I didn't have them last night. I had them the couple games before that where they beat Houston Baptist. They were favored by 1. They covered. They only won by 4 or 5. They have to slow the game down. And they lost by 22-15. That's another that pumps the brakes for me a little bit. And they can't score. I just fucking hate that on a dog that struggles to score. Well, I've been against McNeese. They got me the last game. The national TV, you talked about it. And Stephen F. Austin, another team who can't score. On senior night, I thought they'd play well. Because McNeese, at least on the road, had lost 6 straight going on the road until then, and that's where I've kind of picked on them. This is difficult though now at home. I lean the points though. This is maybe like a small bet for me on the side, catching this many points. The other one, I like the other side. It's tough. Lamar's won both these games right during the year, and they kind of always had Nicholls' number. I think Lamar, and one thing with McNeese, I just think they're like one-track mind. Maybe they don't blow them out, but like they want to it's all like win this thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they know they're that good. Get to the tournament. I think Lamar is the better team in this matchup, but this is kind of, right where we're at here, a coin flip. And can they beat him a third time, which is tough. Lean under in that game, Lamar Nichols.
All right, final game. It's another championship and another tournament bid. Auto bid will be awarded in the Northeast Conference, the NEC Championship. St. Francis, PA, the Red Flash, taking on the Central Connecticut State. Everyone thinks the Duke are the Blue Devils. This is the other Blue Devils, Central Connecticut State. We've got CCSU, 11-point favorites, 137 the total. This is one where, just because it's double digits, and St. Francis, PA is 6-0 straight up, 5-1 against the spread down the stretch, playing their best ball. I took a small bet on St. Francis, but they got destroyed by Central Connecticut in both games during the regular season. And Central Connecticut's the best team in this conference on paper. There's no question about that. And Central Connecticut got a scare in the semifinal round against Fairleigh Dickinson, 9-point favorites, and they barely escaped 76-72. I could see them winning by double digits here and covering. So that's why I'm on St. Francis, but it's a small bet. It's not with a great deal of confidence. C-Mac, what do you think here? NEC title.
I thought you had it or somebody else. Don't you have St. Francis to win this thing? Or no?
I have a small few. No, I don't. I don't know. They're not one of them. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Got to check. So many futures.
Somebody told me that.
I had Troy.
Someone else.
Troy last night cashed for me plus 400 in the Sun Belt.
Oh, there you go. Those teams couldn't miss.
Yeah, Furman unfortunately lost. But no, I don't have St.
I got to give it up in that game. Shout out to Wofford. I mean, they couldn't miss, too, again. I mean, they hit 50% from three. I think they made 14.
Furman over. How fucking easy was that?
Yeah. But just keep shooting the ball that well. They did it again. I think they made 14 or 15 threes. Shoot 50%. And Furman blew it, though, there. I mean, they're up by 4, 2 minutes left. Just bad coaching, no timeout. Yeah.
Swing for Wofford, 10-point swing for Furman. It was just nuts. The roll.
It was back and forth, but it's tough there in the end. You get the lead, and then I thought it was a little bit bad coaching, but that game was a wild back and forth of swings. What do we get here? The St. Francis from earlier that I kind of didn't bet. That I took a few times down the stretch, playing a lot better, especially their defense. That's why they've been in. If you get that, they're covering this, no doubt. Like, if we get to the team that can't make a shot like that, Central Connecticut can kind of cover this number. I just think it's a little bit too big. St. Francis was one I was looking at all day. I think they can maybe hang in this game. Just the consistency of them hasn't been there except for lately. Can we keep it going? I think so. I lean their way here.
All right, good stuff. There you have it. That is our show for today. There's all the games pretty much. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. Yeah, Kenny Woo Woo Woo. Any conference winners we like? St. John's. I don't want to step in front of them in that Big East tournament's.
That's probably
a lot, but it's probably St. John's. There's a couple that I took a shot with in the. I took a shot with Kansas in the Big 12, even though just because of the home crowd factor, and you don't get 12-1 in the conference tournament very often with Kansas, so I thought that was worth a look there. But those are off the board already. We'll give you a couple for the tournaments that are starting tomorrow. We've got the AAC starting tomorrow. Tulane, Wichita. If you're looking down the board, I don't mind those. Like, Memphis is the favorite. But North Texas is up and down. UAB hasn't been great. I don't trust Florida Atlantic either. So if it's not Memphis, maybe Tulane, maybe Wichita State, who beat Memphis, during the season. Temple didn't play that bad down the stretch. I wouldn't mind taking a couple shots in that conference. And remember, Temple was one of those teams. Didn't they make a run in the conference tournament last year? Pretty sure they did, all the way to the damn final. Yeah. And they lost. So Temple's done that before. So I don't mind that. A10, St. Louis, man, 18-1. Loyola Chicago, 18-1. That's where I start getting interested in some of the prices in that conference. And then Big Ten, since that starts tomorrow, Wisconsin plus 650. If you get beyond Michigan State, Maryland, Illinois, maybe a Wisconsin, Oregon plus 2200.
Yeah.
Dana fucking Altman every year, man. just comes out of nowhere and makes a run in the conference tournament. So there's a few. Anything in those conferences, CMAC conference tournament futures, anything you like?
There's a few. I just like UC San Diego a ton, but maybe like Cal Northridge, and I won 12-1, big dog there. Yeah, I think the MAC's pretty wide open here too.
Oh,
I mean,
Mid-American, the MAC, yes.
Ohio, an 8-1 basically.
Ohio and Toledo. That's where I start getting interested. Ohio and Toledo.
Yeah, Toledo's 20-1. Toledo's I don't like, but that's they had a big win the other night. So there, St. John's, yeah, I think is kind of it. But we'll see. These get nuts. You talked about Oregon, but I think anyone there. I don't want Michigan. I talk about as talented they are, the turnovers, but after Oregon, I think like Purdue or UCLA, Wisconsin, all kind of in the 7 to 8-1 range. Look for those three. I haven't bet one of those yet, but I was looking at that a couple days ago. There, that's it. You know what?
I'll throw one out
Mountain
there.
West.
West.
The Mountain
Diego
West.
State. I agree with our guy Nick. I know New Mexico State's ahead of them, or New Mexico and Colorado State and Utah State and Boise State, but don't ever sleep on San Diego State in the Mountain West tournament. I know this year's been a down year for them. They haven't been nearly as good. They lost a lot from last year, but it's Dutcher. It's conference tournament. It's a good price. It's like plus 600 to plus 750, laying in the weeds finally a little bit, the Aztecs. That, to me, is the value in the Mountain West.
I kind of agree, but I think these two, I think just red hot, Colorado State, basically 4-1, and Boise plus 450. Good prices for those two because I could see easily New Mexico, Utah State. Like the first 5 or 6 there could win. I don't think UNLV is a stretch, but right there, it's a toss-up. All those teams on a neutral here. We'll see more of it. This is the great thing. We've seen neutral games so early on. These teams have changed, and now they're playing neutral games. Now, what do we get? Totally different teams. Or probably you didn't want to take a Colorado State.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they were even a bigger number, but they played so well down the stretch.
Even in the SEC tournament, which starts tomorrow, Auburn may not want to be around very long.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Auburn's a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, regardless of what happens tomorrow or in the SEC tournament. So I could see them going out early, quite honestly, Auburn, saying, hey, NCAA tournament, that's our bigger fish to fry. So keep an eye on that. That's another tournament. Don't be scared to take some shots. Tennessee plus 550, Kentucky 22-1 with Mark Pope, a very good coach. A&M with Buzz is never out of the equation. He's made runs in the SEC tournament before, 25-1. My guy, Chris Beard. I know Ole Miss was kind of all over the place, but 65-1 with a tournament coach like Chris Beard, that's tickling my buying bone when I see 65-1 on a coach like Chris Beard in a conference tournament. So there's some decent shots there in the SEC because I don't think it's going to go chalk. I could see Auburn getting bounced, especially with, they've already locked up a number 1 seed. They could lose their very first SEC tournament game, Auburn, and they're still going to be a number 1 seed next week in the NCAA tournament. I'm not sold on Florida and Alabama necessarily winning it. They could, the SEC tournament. But like I said, the value in that tournament starts with Tennessee, Kentucky, A&M, even Missouri, even though I didn't love the way they finished the season. Ole Miss, that's where the value starts with that SEC tournament. So there you go. Good stuff. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Steven Jackson, Kenny Woo Woo Woo, Nick, Justin, Daryl, everyone in the chat. We appreciate it very much. G. Martinez, Ross Pitts, Oldie, Timothy Hake, Dillups. We appreciate everyone joining us, no doubt, about the college basketball Hitting the Books show. We will get into that, Stephen, next week. We'll save that for next week because we're going to do some tournament preview shows next week, NCAA tournament. We'll save it for next week, but we'll definitely have some dark horse NCAA tournament selections, no doubt, next week. And we're going to do some schedule tinkering next week because I think what we might do is we might do Thursday and Friday NCAA tournament previews on Wednesday's show, That way, Thursday at this time, Friday at this time, we may not do a show so that we can watch the games, right? The games are going on at this time next Thursday and Friday. So that's how we might do it. So, but we'll keep you posted on what the scheduling arrangement will be surrounding the NCAA tournament. All right, let's wrap it up, C-Mac. It's time for best bets. What do you got, Connor, for your best bet here for this Tuesday night?
Yeah, I took it. I think took it 10.5. Albany plus 11.5. I think they hang around in that game. That's it.
There you go. Albany, a little Great Danes plus 11.5 against Bryant for best bet here for Connor Mack in that one. My best bet for this one, there's some good options out there. I'm going to go with, let me just see when it starts. Give me the 16.5 Northwestern State. I hope this is not a night where McNeese has got it rolling. It's their A-plus game, because their A-plus game, they can win by 20. But I cashed with Northwestern State last night. I think this is just a few too many points. Rivalry game in state. Northwestern State plus 16 is the best number out there right now. We'll take the big number, Northwestern State in the Southland, for my best bet here for this Tuesday card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button.
Hit the like button here. Hitting the Books channel. Hit it. Hit the comments. Tell who you like. All that good shit. Hit us with your futures and all whatever. Just hit the comments. Hit the like on the Hitting Books YouTube channel. Take it away.
No doubt. Make sure you get involved. Hit the like button. Drop some comments. We appreciate it very much. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back tomorrow on Wednesday, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, for another edition of the College Basketball Hitting the Books show. Until then, class dismissed.